Well, Kevin, in a sense, this is welcome home. SoFi Stadium is going to be within striking distance of a lot of relatives for you here in the Southland.
Yep. No, I did not forget about where I've lived before, where I went to school, the relationships in Southern California. It's a special place to my family and I. So I'd be lying if I did not say that it was a part of the decision to come back this way.
Early in the process, I'm curious what you think it is or understand that Sean McVay wants from you as an offensive coordinator. And I mean this question in two ways, Monday to Saturday,
Yep.
And then also on game day.
Yeah, Monday through Saturday, just the role of a head coach that is a play caller and does run the offense. You really have to have somebody that you trust and you value not only their opinion in the game plan setting, early on in the week, but also within the quarterback room, within the offensive skill room, the interaction with the offensive line and how everything kind of comes together. That's not easy for somebody to do all those things, even though you're the play caller, having worked for Jay Gruden as his offensive coordinator. And Sean was actually originally, before he became the play caller in Washington, he did that role for Jay. So the similarities of knowing obviously what that role is like and then assuming obviously the play caller role on into becoming the head coach here, he knows exactly the experiences that I've had and maybe where I can lend a helping hand here. And as far as Sunday goes, I've learned very quickly in the NFL that it's about each and every moment during those games and any competitive edge that you may be able to find as a player or coach. The people that can help do those things normally elevate pretty quickly, not only with the play caller, but around the NFL. Those things tend to travel pretty quickly. So if you can have a role, you feel prepared, obviously, that the quarterback position and the entire offense, you've done your job to put those guys in the best possible situation. Then it's about Sunday. Then it's about adapting real time and being able to adjust and change on the fly to maximize your chance to win the football game.
You talk about those critical moments. Obviously, Sean thinks you have an opportunity to contribute to them or he wouldn't have chosen you, and you seem like a confident, young coach who has ideas that can be utilized in those moments. How do you find the right voice on game day for someone like Sean, who clearly drives the offense his own way and has had great success doing it?
Yeah, it's unique. It's really unique because the last thing you want to do is ever come into an environment where there's been a lot of success and think that you can be some superhuman, supernatural change that's going to create clarity for everybody within the building. It's not that. But what it is listening. It's observing early on here in these first few weeks being on the job, trying to cultivate as many relationships as I can and earn people's trust that they know I'm going to work really hard. They know I'm going to communicate and I'm going to value the opinions of everybody in this building, both coaches and players and support staff. Everybody's got to know that you're here for one reason only, and that's to win. And as those opportunities present themselves, I truly believe that they do present themselves as situations come up throughout a long NFL season, throughout a long training camp. You have to be ready each and every time. And it's not always fun to be on edge waiting for that moment to come, but when it does, you've got to capitalize on it. And there's no greater chance for growth than when those situations come up.
One of your roles on this staff will be working with Jared Goff.
Yes.
And I'm sure you're aware he's had a lot of voices in his head as a professional. How do you synthesize those and make sure that's an asset for Jared and not a confusing factor?
Yeah, I think it all comes back to, figuring out exactly that communication between him and I first. And part of that is understanding how we both got here and the path at which we both took to get to the roles we are now, as far as me and my coaching background, maybe even going back further as a player and some of the teammates and interactions in the quarterback room that I had, as well as really evaluating hard what he's been able to do in this offense in the last 3 years, which is a lot of really special things. And then you take a step back and you kind of get together on that and you kind of allow him to communicate maybe where he mentally is at right now from a confidence standpoint, from a growth standpoint, what are his goals. All of those things can be laid out pretty clearly this time of year. So when you get around to the season, there's a trust factor there. There's an understanding of one another that you're really not exploring anything at that point. It's a matter of relying on one another and hopefully him relying on me as well as Sean relying on me to help kind of make it all go.
that part of my question a bit more in jest, but this next part is a bit more sincere because I know it's a priority for Sean to get the running game back on track, that maybe he didn't have the confidence in the particular running game of 2019 that enabled the Rams to have success to a greater extent in years prior. How do you address that through all facets, but especially with respect to Todd Gurley and the future of the running back position?
Yeah, I think first things first, you look at it from a scheme standpoint, and while you're evaluating the scheme and what was the intent of plays, what was the intent, the design of things that maybe had been done in the past that defenses tried to do some different things to take away, as well as maybe what are the adjustments that can be made moving forward to solidify the chances of success in that play. And then obviously as you're watching and you're watching it as a staff and as an organization, you're looking at personnel across the board. How are all 11 working together to make sure that as a group the run game is a success? Because it's much more than just the offensive line and the running back. It's the receivers, it's the tight ends, it's the quarterback, making sure that the play has the best possible chance to succeed, and he's doing his job to make sure the play goes the way we want it. So there's a complete analysis of the scheme, of the personnel, of the counter punches off of those plays, and how it all works together. And that's really what we're doing this time of year.
Let's keep going with that then, because I think this roster in many ways was built for 11 personnel, and you have a trio of receivers, and even add Josh Reynolds to the group.
That's more than a trio, yeah.
Sure.
But the Rams became more multiple by design and by out of necessity last year, and part of that had to do with the emergence of Tyler Higbee, who had a franchise season all packaged into 1 month of December. Where do we go from here in that regard?
I think I think there's going to be an element of versatility, calling upon the successes in the 11 personnel with the 3 wide receivers and 1 tight end in there to go along with your running back. But I think just continuing to present not only the different looks from a formational standpoint, continue to grow the tempo package and trying to gain any competitive advantage that you can. And sometimes that is multiple personnel groupings and forcing a defense to have to declare their hand, at least schematically, of how they want to defend each personnel grouping. And then the things that you can do within those groupings may be different to attack the defense via the pass. So I think that it all kind of works together. A lot of it has to do, the starting point is what you want your foundation to be, and then you branch off from there. But that's really what we're doing now is kind of evaluating that, and obviously Tyler's impact on this offense as well as Gerald was huge when you're observing it not only from afar, but now you get inside this building and see their impact, and it was a real positive.
Kevin, thanks so much for your time. Can't wait to see the impact you're able to have with the Los Angeles Rams this offseason and into 2020, and most importantly, welcome back to Southern California.
Thank you.